There has been progress in the reduction of malaria mortality rates in WHO African region, from 54% in the year 2000 to the current 66%. Despite this, more commitment is needed from the government and the people to eliminate mosquitoes and, by extension, malaria infection, which affects mostly women and children. Now, as this year's World Malaria Day is marked with the theme, End Malaria for Good, our focus on health is on how to protect an estimated 97% of Nigeria's population who are at risk of malaria. Our correspondent, Yomi Otaigbe, reports.
Nigeria's location in the tropical region of sub-Saharan Africa makes the environment a veritable ground for the breeding of mosquitoes. But much as the natural elements pose a challenge, some human factors make malaria control even more difficult. The evidence of the role of humans in the existence of mosquito vectors can be seen in most places. The indiscriminate dumping of refuse close to residential areas and unattended gutters are some examples. Over the years, like most malaria-endemic countries, Nigeria seems to have focused more on the control of the disease through the promotion of physical barriers and prompt treatment. However, there are concerns over the treatment of malaria without diagnosis.
Anybody that has fever should not engage in self-medication on misuse of drugs. It should first of all visit a laboratory or visit a health facility that has well-equipped medical laboratory for testing. And when that is confirmed that the person is having malaria parasites, then that is when appropriate drug will be prescribed. But if the person engages in self-medication and misuse of drug, there may be what we call development of drug resistance by the parasite.
Another issue to consider seriously, especially for those who are pregnant, is malaria in pregnancy.
In pregnant women, malaria tends to be severe, and also most pregnant women tend to have more frequent attacks. According to the national guideline, every pregnant woman should have at least 2 doses of sulfadoxine pyrimethamine to prevent malaria in pregnancy. First, after the first trimester and 4 weeks after that. For those who are HIV positive, they should have at least, because they tend to have more severe attack of malaria, more frequent, should have at least 3 doses of malaria. But for the women who are pregnant and have sickle cell diseases, they should use daily paliodrin. We also need to, most times we think that everybody lives in Lagos, Kano, Port Harcourt. But the bulk of Nigerians live in the rural areas, my village, your village. I think we need to carry this war to the communities where most pregnant women and children less than 5 years live.
Deaths from malaria disease is one that is needless and should reduce considerably. A quicker way to achieving this is through integrated vector management. And the conversation around the world is on how to end malaria. The question is Nigeria ready?
Why the rest of the world are almost getting to eliminating malaria, whereas the prevalence of malaria in Nigeria is still in the range of national average of 27%. The latest surveillance, that's still, and for us to say that we are getting close to elimination stage, it should be less than 5%.
For us in Nigeria, I think it's the right time to assess ourselves and say, how far have we gone in the quest toward malaria elimination? That vision has to be backed up with a number of activities, especially funding, and recognizing the fact that we cannot eliminate malaria by just be doing what we have been doing, the routine thing we've been doing. A number of changes have to come in, and that's where research will play a key role. So for us to end malaria, we have a long journey, and the journey must start now.
There's a global call for more investment in malaria control and elimination. But while the people wait for the government and corporate organizations to fully key into this, everyone has a positive role to play in ensuring that mosquitoes have no breeding nor hiding places, and this can be achieved through basic sanitation.
Well, let's go over now to our sports studios where Ayosinde Balogun is standing by with today's sports news.
A former chairman of the Nigeria Football Association, Anthony Kojo Williams, says the government needs to invest in the development of school sports. Now, he was speaking at the Platform. That's a program organized by the Covenant Christian Center. And in the English Premier League, Danny Welbeck's 59th-minute goal for Arsenal against Norwich City has helped the Gunners leapfrog Man City to the third position as the fight for the top four continues in the EPL. Leighton Baines got the winner to end Everton's poor recent run and ease the pressure on manager Roberto Martinez. Newcastle moved out of the relegation zone as Andres Townsend's strike and a penalty saved by Carl Darlow helped them to a 1-0 win over Crystal Palace. Jermaine Defoe's stoppage time penalty rescued a dramatic point for Sunderland. But Newcastle win means the Black Cats drop into the bottom three. Aston Villa lost to Watford by 3-2, while West Ham defeated West Brom 3-0. And that's a wrap on Sports News. I'm Ayosinde Balogun. News at 10. Continue shortly.
Hundreds of Shia Muslim activists have stormed Iraq's parliament in Baghdad to protest against continuing deadlock in approving a new cabinet. Supporters of cleric Muqtada Saad broke through barricades of the fortified Green Zone for the first time after members of parliament failed to convene for a vote requesting Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi to commit to a plan to replace ministers with non-partisan technocrats. The protesters tried to stop lawmakers attempting to flee the building, while jubilant demonstrators took up the seats of the deputies and posed for photos inside the chambers. A state of emergency has since been declared and security forces deployed to keep the peace. And the main news again. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, has said that though the early signs may be confusing and sometimes discouraging, the federal government will deliver on its promise of change. And that's it on the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Harriet Agbini. Have a good night.